Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel SF with AK. This is Aman Kumar and I'm a 22 times certified Salesforce developer. And today I'm walking you through Summer 26 release. Today we are going to talk about 6 features that are going to change how you work, whether you spend your day in a flow builder, an object manager, or in VS Code. And for each one, I'm going to show you the feature live in the org, not just talk about it. So stick around until the end and you will have learned something. Okay, here's the agenda for today. 6 useful features for everyone in the Salesforce ecosystem. First up is Web Console, the new browser ID Salesforce just launched. Then 3 screen flow improvements, a fix for how data tables handle lookup fields, a brand new radio button group component, and the ability to collapse fold paths on the canvas. After that, a small but really welcome change to schedule triggered flow. Now we can finally control the maximum batch size in a schedule triggered flow. And at the end, we will wrap with the new Field Access tab in the Object Manager. Before we dive in, let's quickly look at the dates that we need to make sure we know. Okay, the pre-released orgs opened on April 16th. I'll drop the sign up link in the description and pin comment, and you can grab one from there. Release notes went live on April 22nd. I'll link the official release notes page for every feature that we discussed today in the description as well in the pin comments, and you can read the details by yourself and verify the features. The sandbox refresh cutoff date is May 7th, and if you want to have a preview sandbox, you need to refresh your sandbox before May 7th. The Summer 26 features start showing up in the sandbox from May 8th. And then the release goes live in production orgs on June 5, June 12th, and June 13th, depending on your org instance. Check Salesforce Trust to see which weekend your instance falls on, and you will be able to see the features live on your production instance. All right, let's start with the web console. Okay, web console. So I think this is the biggest thing in Summer 26 for everyone who writes code. The short version, Salesforce built a full IDE inside the browser, and it looks and feel like just VS Code for web, the same editor most of us used to on the desktop. And the amazing part, this is available in Spring 26 org as well, not just for Summer 26, but if your instance is in Spring 26, you can enable this beta feature and use it. So this is what it replaces. So the old way of setting up a Salesforce dev environment, you need to install Node.js, then install JDK, then install the VS Code itself, then install the CLI, install the multiple extension packs, then create a project, authenticate your org, then configure force ignore, retrieve metadata, and reauth every time your token expires. So that's almost 30 to 60 minutes per laptop that you spend on, and Web Console just removes all that. 2 steps, click on gear icon and click on Web Console, and you have the ID in the browser itself. Let me show you live in the org. Okay, so first of all, you need to go to the gear icon, click on setup. In setup, you need to search for Web Console, and you will see Web Console Beta under development section. Now we need to enable this toggle, and that's it. That was the part that you needed to do, and you have a VS Code for your browser. Now let me open it. So let me refresh the page. Okay, the 2 steps. I click on the gear icon, I click on the Web Console, and I have my VS Code set up with the project, everything ready in the browser itself. Well, on the left hand side, you have the Explorer, you have the search, you have the source option, and then the extensions. All the options that you see in the VS Code are all present here. Well, you can start coding right away. And well, we already have the CLI, so all the SFDX commands will work. Let me show you. We can create the classes, we can create triggers, or we can create lightning components. I type in LWC, I can create the lightning web component, and many more things that we can do with the VS Code and the CLI. All are possible in the browser itself without any installation. Well, one important thing that I want to tell you about the Web Console. So let's close this. There are multiple ways to open the Web Console, not just from here. We can go to Setup. We can go to the Apex class. And then click on any class. When we click on Edit, it will open the Web Console itself. And it will retrieve that class and open that class in the editor. So you will see. So it's retrieving the class, and it has opened the class. So now you can work directly inside the web console. And same goes for the jobs as well. So if you are in Apex jobs and you want to see any failed job, how it failed or which class is working on, you don't need to copy in the class name and then paste it. You will have an edit button here and just click on edit and it will open the Apex class in the web console itself. That's how the web console works. Let me take you back to the PPT. Okay, so that's the web console. For me, the big win is the context-aware launch from Apex jobs, Apex classes, or Apex triggers. And next, let's talk about the flow change. Okay, this is a small feature, but it has a huge impact. If you ever put a data table component in a screen flow, you must have hit this. When you include a lookup field, let's say account on a case, the data table shows the row record ID. Users don't know how to handle that or what to do with that ID. Clicking it will not do anything. The workaround most of us have built is a hyperlink formula field on the object, and it works. But there's a technical debt, and we need to create a new formula field for each object that we want to show the data table. Well, Summer 26 ships the real fix. It has two checkboxes in the data table itself, show record name and link to record. That's it. Let me show you how it looks on the org. So let's open a flow. Let's say click this flow. Let's first see how it was before the update. So let me update the columns back. Done. Contact ID. Done. Let me run this. Oh, I did not save the flow. So let me first save it. Then run it. So you see, account ID is showing as account ID, contact ID as contact ID. The user will not know what to do with this ID. Now the update. So in this update, they just introduced two checkboxes. So when I go to the columns, click on edit, and I have two checkboxes here. Display option, so show record name, that will convert the ID to the record name, and I can either have the link to the record ID or not. So if I have this checkbox checked, it will show me the link, and if I click on that record, it will take me to that record page. Let's save it, and similarly in contact ID, let's do this, and let's uncheck the record link to record. We will be able to see both the behaviors. Now let's add another field, and you see this is not a lookup field. That's why you can't see the other options here. Let's save, done, and save. Let's run it again. You see, contact ID is not a link, but the account ID is a link. If I go to the account ID, I can click on this. It will open in a new window, and the record of the account will open. But I can't do that with the contact ID. And the case number is the case number itself. It's not clickable. So that is how you can convert a lookup field to a hyperlink, or you can just show the name and add a link to that so that the users can go to that record directly from the flow without creating any custom field or formula field or hyperlinks. Let's go back to the PPT. Well, this one is a must-have upgrade for every data table and every screen flow that you have built so far. I would say go and update that. Let's see the next feature. So if you have been building screen flows for a while, you know the standard radio button component. It's functional, but it eats vertical space. Every option is stacked on its own line, and by the time you have 4 or 5 choices, your screen is scrolling into big screen. Now, Summer 26 introduces a new component called Radio Button Group. It's a successor of the visual picker that Salesforce shipped recently, and it lays out choices as horizontal tiles instead of stacked rows. It will be horizontal inside of the desktop view or for a larger screen, but if you are viewing it on a phone, it will be a vertical view. And also there's a nice toggle that allows the user to convert the radio group to a checkbox group. So we have a toggle, let users select multiple options. If we change that to yes, it converts the radio group to a checkbox group. So we have one component with two behaviors. So let me show you how it looks like in the org itself. Let's go to the Salesforce. Let me close this old flow. Okay, we are back in the flow. Let's open the screen, and I've already added a radio group, but let me add it again. So this is radio button group. Click on this, and I need to provide a label. And the API name populates, and I can give the choices. I can add multiple, and that's how it works. I now have the radio button ready. Now, the new feature is if I allow the user to select only one option, then it can be the radio group button or a pick list or a radio button. So one component will behave in all three ways. Now, if I want to allow the user to select multiple options and I don't want to change the choices or anything, I'll just select the toggle here to yes, and it converts to a checkbox group. Now I can change the type from checkbox group to multi-select picklist as well. So we can convert that to multi-select picklist as well. So that's how it works. And one component has multiple options now. I think it's pretty good that you can do all the things just from one component. So let's see how the radio button group looks like on the UI when we run the screen. Let me save it and click on run. So see, the radio button group are here, and it's much cleaner than the old way of the radio buttons that we used to have. Okay, let's go back to the PPT. Well, the next feature is the collapsing the fold paths. So in Spring 26, Salesforce gave us the ability to collapse and expand the decision and loop elements. I created a video to explaining how the functionality works, and I'll put the link in the eye icon. You can go and watch from there. And now in summer 26, they're upgrading that to the fold path as well. Now, when you have an element with an error handling branch, you can fold that branch out of the site while you work on the happy path only. You don't need to have the whole flow in the canvas itself. You can just collapse the fold path and work on the happy path that you have. And that reduces the canvas much smaller. Okay, let me show you how it will look like in the org itself. You can refer the screenshots as well. So let's go to the org and let me add fold path here. In that fold path, we can add multiple elements like, let's say, assignment, sign something, and let's leave it like that. Then we can have a decision. Let's leave it as well. We can have more elements here. That makes the fold path, go very big. Now it's out of the screen as well. So what I can do, I can just close the fold path and it should be there. Now I have just the three components that I need, and it's all good. The canvas is much cleaner, and I can easily work on the part that I need to work on and ignore the fold path. That's how you can expand or collapse the fold path. I think it's the expansion of the old feature that they released in Spring 26, and I think it's pretty cool. So let's go back to the PPT. Anyone managing schedule triggered flow, the ones that run overnight or in every hour or with the cron expression, historically scheduled trigger flow process records in batches of 200. That was the default setting, and until now the only option you had was the 200. So if your flow was doing a simple feed update or calling out to 3 external systems with complex transform in between, we can only add the 200 batch size. Well, the problem is obvious. Your flow's heaviest elements is expensive. A batch of 200 might blow it up on the CPU limit or SQL limit or DML limit, and you don't have any way to dial it down other than passing the data to a batch class and then handling that in the batch. But in Summer 26, it lets you configure the maximum batch size per flow, and the max can still be 200, but it can be from 1 to 200, and we can directly set it inside the flow itself when we are building the flow. As you can see in the screenshot, we have a option for max batch size. I have just typed in 10, that you can change it. Let me show you how to find it and where to change the value. Let's get back to the org. Okay, we are in screen flow. Let's change that to a schedule flow. I'll create a new flow for that. I'll choose the schedule automation and click on schedule triggered flow. Now I need to choose the object. Let's choose account, and we have the maximum batch size option here. Now I can type in any value from 1 to 200, and you can read the description. Enter the number of reports that this flow can process at the same time. The default size is 200, and they give an example as well. If you process 7 records and set max batch size of 2, they're grouped into 4 batches. Batch size smaller than 200 can improve performance and help avoid governance limits. Very small batch size can increase the total processing time. So it's very descriptive, and anyone can understand what to do with the batch size from this particular screen itself. Now let's go back to the PPT. Well, the last feature for today, and if you ever done a security audit, this one is going to feel like a gift. Today, answering a simple question like who can see the annual revenue field on account is a long exercise. You need to go to the object manager, click the field, check the field accessibility, which only show you the profiles. And for permission sets, you need to open the permission set individually and check the accessibility of that particular field on that permission set. So it was a hectic and multiple screen job. From summer 26, they added a new tab. On every object, we will have a new tab called field access. You just click it, you see a consolidated grid. Every field is a drop down. You select that field and it will show you this field is accessible by which profile and which permission set in a single screen. Let me show you in this org itself. So let's go to setup and object manager. Let's open any object and you have field access tab here. Click on that and by default it has the first field selected and it's showing me that this field is inside this particular permission set. It's not a custom permission set. What's the description? What's the level of access this permission set provides to the users? I can directly go to the permission set from here itself. I don't need to go and search for permission set. I can just open it directly. Similarly, I have the option of profiles here. Which profile has this particular field and what's the level of access that profile provides to the user. So you have the read access, edit access, everything on a single screen. So for auditing purpose or the field accessibility purpose, I think this is the single screen that you need to visit and you should be good. Let's go back to the PPT. Well, that was all for today. We discussed about Web Console, which is a beta feature. It's a browser-based IDE that does not need any installation like VS Code or JDK or the Node.js, and it's available even in the Spring 26 orgs. You just need to enable that feature and you will be able to use it. Then we discussed about data table lookups. Now we finally can show the record names along with the record link without any custom fields or formula fields. Then we talked about the radio button group. Now the radio buttons, instead of vertical, we have a horizontal tiles. That's a much cleaner UI, takes less space, and it has multiple functionalities in the one component itself. We can change it to checkbox group, we can change it to pick list, and all those features inside one component itself. Then we talked about collapse fault path, how we can collapse the fault paths and reduce the flow canvas just for our purpose of happy path. You don't need to see the whole flow and much cleaner UI. Then we talked about scheduled triggered flows where we can set the maximum batch size from 1 to 200. And the last topic was the field accessibility, where we can see the field on which profile or which permission set has access to this field and what level of access they provide to the user. And that's also in a single screen. Well, that's what I had for you today. Thanks for sticking with me. And I'm keen to hear which of these features you are most excited about. Drop it in the comments. And if there's one you want me to go deeper on a follow-up video, let me know. I'll create a separate video for that. And if you found this session helpful, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me keep making these videos. Official release notes, links for every features are in the description. You can just directly go to the official page. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one.